Finally. Thing. Bloody cameras. Anyway, welcome to the RSV4 RF limited edition from Aprilia. So, mark down there. So this is another one of my bikes, as promised. I'm going to run through and take you out for a ride on some of them and show you the interesting ones. This is definitely a very interesting bike. Probably, I mean, arguably, obviously, the best sounding motorcycle made in the modern era. It is a glorious V4. This is the 1000cc. This is a 2015 bike, so this is pre the 1100 factory. So this was the Super Pole edition, the cream of the crop. It's got the Öhlins forks, Öhlins shock, the Brembo M50s, and yeah, fully adjustable chassis. This thing is an absolute weapon. In terms of modifications I've done, because I am 6'3" and a bit, this is a very small motorcycle. It's quite titchy to get on for a big lad. However, if you love something, you'll make yourself fit. So I've put on here some Renthol clip-ons. It's given me a 40mm extra further reach, and I've made them as wide as possible and as out as possible, and that actually has made quite a big difference. The only other mod I've done to this is removed the standard ABS system and just done a Brembo 17 RCS. The 17 is important with the M50s. You have to do a 17. That's the correct ratio for the M50 and bypass the ABS. Mainly because when I was on track the first time I bought it, the ABS, I just couldn't bleed the system. It was just a fucking nightmare. So I decided to avoid all of that bleed and just bypass it. So yeah, the sun's out. The Arrow exhaust is on. This is a pretty cheap and very loud modification. We've got the full-sized regular number plate, of course. So we've got the forged wheels. Oh, I've also changed the gearing as well. So I've got Renthol chain and sprocket. I think I've gone down one on the front and up two on the rear. I think that's what I did. What are we on here? We're on a 15 on the front, and I think standard it's a 16. And these are 520 chains, not the 525. So, and we've got some crash protection on here, which was on it when I bought it. Oh, I've also put some Samco hoses because I had the dreaded, there's a hose which often fractures from factory, a plastic bit, and it's right in there, and it's a right pain in the arse to get to. But anyway, we've done that, so that's all done and sorted, and that's it. So, without further ado, let us mount. The other annoying thing, this Speedo is here for several reasons. The main one being, when I turn now on full lock, it rubs the screen, which is a bit annoying, so I put a bit of a sticker there. Controls, we've got live traction up and down. This is the era where electronics started to become good. However, the electronics on this, by modern standards, are not quite there. But that's the nice RSV4 RF. This is number 243 of 500. And let's start her up, shall we? Naughty. I haven't started her today, so let's get her nice and warmed up. So this bike, while we're again waiting for it to warm up, this is probably the fastest I've ever ridden any motorcycle ever, and that was at Almeria a couple of years ago, which is a racetrack in southern Spain, and I smashed my PB on this. It was still in road form. It was exactly like this, although I did have carbon wheels in it, which I've got slicks on at the moment, but obviously they're not road legal. But other than that, it was identical, road fairing, everything, headlights, mirrors. I think I had mirror blanking plates, but anyway. And I did a 143, a low 143 full lap, and the ideal was a 142 something. So my previous best was like a 46, I think, on an HP4 race. So yeah, this is a sorted bike. It's been down to James at JHS. We've resprung these forks. So we've also changed, in fact I forgot this as well, we put K-Tech valves valves in the bottom of these, because the road Olin stuff on these forks apparently isn't that controllable, so we've upgraded the valves at the bottom, and we've got bigger fork springs, stronger fork springs to hold my 100 kilo mass. And likewise on the back, I think I've gone for a 10.5 spring, and yeah, it was absolutely mega. This is going back a couple of years now as well, Maria, but it was absolutely fantastic. We're probably about ready now. 50 degrees. We can go slowly. I mean, this is a very exciting motorcycle. It's how bikes should sound. So in the last video I was obviously ranting and raving about the benefits of older bikes. This is I suppose it's a modern bike. It is still 7 years old, 7.5 years old, but I would still categorise this as a modern bike. So I'm basically going to unwind everything I said in that last video and say that this is amazing. Whoa. I bought this bike as when I used to work with Motorline, which I don't anymore. I bought this, it came in as a trade-in, and I was looking for something to just sort of have a little route around on track with, and I thought, yeah, let's give this a go. So I bought it at a very good price. This particular model, even now after I've had it for 2 years, 3 years, it's still only done 1,940 miles. So we'll probably click over 2,000 this trip, which is a bit of a shame, but anyway, whatever. And yeah, well, I think when I bought it, it had 1,200 miles on. Now, the two owners that have had it before me, the first one bought it as a track bike. It didn't get converted to a proper track bike. It just got ridden on track. And he's not the fastest rider in the world, I know him. And nor is the other one that bought it after. So I'm pretty confident that the bike's been looked after. However, it didn't come with any service book or manual, and it actually only had one key as well. But it didn't put me off. And that's one of the reasons why I got it for a pretty good price. But talk about an exciting machine, like, you know you're on something pretty special when you got this and that noise. I mean, if I pull up to my house on this, the neighbours hate me, absolutely hate me. So you do feel a bit obnoxious. However, and I know I moan about people with loud, not moan about, but I sort of make it clear that loud exhausts aren't always very welcome. However, when you're on something like this, you can't help but make it make funny noises. So I don't know how much fuel and stuff we've got in here, but let's just keep going, shall we? And I think this type of age of bike, it's almost, yes, the brand new 2022 factory is going to be quicker, it is. But how much quicker is debatable, and it all depends what level of rider you are, because you really like to get the most out of it. If you don't lean on electronics, then you're probably not going to notice any difference. And this is a Euro 3 bike, I think, so this has got slightly less restrictions and cats and all that sort of stuff, which makes it breathe a little nicer. This is obviously the 998cc, or is it 999? I think it's 998, whereas the factory 1100, I think it's actually only a 1078 anyway, is a bigger capacity engine, so it's going to be faster, as in it's going to have more power. But I can't remember what this was dynoed at. We did dyno it down at JHS. I think it was fairly decent, like 170 maybe at the rear wheel, something like that. And that's that's more than enough I've got a completely unmatching retro hipster helmet because I couldn't be bothered to change all my cameras to my Arai RX7V, although I have got my funky new RST threads on. That's another point about making yourself fit on the right bike. If you're struggling to fit on a bike, take a look at your gear, make sure your gear, you can move in it. There's nothing worse than tight, small gear that you can't, you know, tuck in and move off and get off the bike, particularly around your nuts area, where you really need to be able to move around the bike easily. Oh, it's fucking hard, but it turns so fast. Fucking hell. Yeah, so I haven't changed any of the suspension settings from the circuit, so it's probably a little harsh for these terrible UK roads. But I mean, again, this bike is another absolute banger from Aprilia. It is, all of the incarnations of this RSV4 are phenomenal, really. Even the early APRC ones. Again, Aprilia, I've become a massive Aprilia fan recently because I just like the way they approach things, where they just keep chipping away and making something better and better and better in slow increments. Even the brand new bike, it's not that different from this. It's still the basic engine, still the basic same frame. It's got different swing arm and electronics and stuff, but they don't try and reinvent the wheel, they just keep chipping away. And I really like that. Got a nice little traction up and down here, that's pretty cool. Although I always press it by accident and then wonder why my traction's going up. Fucking hell! It is proper rapid, this thing. I don't like the rear sets, however. If you've got, I mean, I've got big old bloody slabs of meat down here, and these are tiny. But yeah, I mean, now I've got these extra bars, I've got a bit more reach further forward. I feel alright. I look ridiculous, but whatever. I'm wearing a purple and pink suit, so I think I look pretty ridiculous anyway. I mean, it sounds like a proper GP bike, this thing. What a way to feel alive. I mean, amazingly, I did think about selling this, but then as soon as you get on something like this, you're like, how could you possibly get rid of it? If you can still eat, then don't sell this. I mean, noise is pretty vital to a good experience on a motorcycle, isn't it? It's right up there with, maybe even more important than the feeling of thrust. It's just so fucking... Rear brakes a bit shit, but aren't they all? Sorry, mate. Petrol beats your battery. Oh. Just makes you act like a complete child and unnecessarily go through the gearbox. It would be so nice if this generation had a blipper, but it doesn't. It's just so direct. Aprilia is so good, Aprilia, at creating chassis. Racing chassis, that is their absolute forte. And again, all of this is completely adjustable. If I wanted to change the swing arm pivot, if I wanted to change the headstock angle, all of that stuff which I know nothing about. If I want to do it, it's there. 39. Okay. You don't need to put your hazards on, mate. I can see I'm not a fucking moron. So yeah, there's nothing really more to this video other than just showing you around my bike and taking you for a little ride. I'm surprised this hasn't run out of fuel yet. I have run out of fuel on this bike when I first bought it because I was used to Germans, and if you run out of fuel or get low on a BMW, it's like, oh, you're running out of fuel, you should get some fuel, and you know, it definitely lets you know. And you've got at least 30, sometimes even 40 miles before you actually run out. Whereas this is like, you need some fuel. Oh, you've run out. There's none left. It's gone. so I ran out and had to push it up a hill on a dual carriageway to a petrol station. But I forgive it. In fact, I blame the Germans. It's always the bloody Germans. I think it's bike night tonight. Is it Wednesday? I think it is. Right, let's see what's fallen off it. Yeah. These forks, all Öhlins forks do this. They weep ever so slightly. If you leave them hanging around, not doing much, they don't like it. But that looks alright. And that side's alright. Okay, that's my main concern. Tyres, good. I did top it up with oil. That's all on, that's all on. There's nothing dripping out of it. I topped up the coolant as well. I actually just run water in this. I don't run it in the winter. And yeah, looks like everything is intact. Good. Why is the shop not open?